we are all in contact with everybody. Like everybody lives in New York City, right? Everybody's got to ride the trains together. Everybody walks the streets together. Everybody's around each other all the time. Everybody's in the same restaurants. Everybody's at the same pizza place. Everybody's in the same bakery. Everybody's walking around Bleecker Street in the Village or Fordham Road in the Bronx or out in Jackson Heights getting some Indian food, or, you know, everybody's taking the ferry out to Staten Island or hanging out in Brooklyn, you know, up in Fort Greene. Like everybody is together. You can go anywhere and see so many different people, and it is the most beautiful thing that you have ever experienced, to be around so many different people, this multicultural array of beautifulness. It's just magnificent. My intention with this channel is to bring people together, you know? I mean, yeah, I want to talk about filmmaking. I want to talk about theater. I mean, I talk about a lot of different things, you know? I talk inspirational kind of things. I talk about New York a lot, but basically I'm an artist. It's a creative channel. But I want to bring people together, you know, because I'm also kind of an activist, and, you know, I believe certain things, but I don't ever think that what I know is right and I'm the only person who knows. And so what I'm hoping is that, you know, a lot of people who probably disagree with me politically, you know, like, I hope they stay here and they don't just like roll their eyes or run away. And, you know, like, I could literally, if somebody disagrees with something, I could literally give them a very specific link to go check something out that I heard or that I saw. And I'm hoping that maybe they could guide me to something specific that would make me feel better about something. You know, if something is freaking me out or making me feel bad. So I just, you know, I hope that people stay around. Hope they watch me. I hope they don't go, oh, there's a lib or a dem or whatever. Because, you know, I know a lot of different people, man. I'm from New York City. You know, like I come from a performance community where there's all kinds of different people who I interact with all the time. And so I ain't about all of that, you know, separation thing. I consider us all together, all in this country at the same time, trying to all be happy and healthy and prosperous and, you know, just be safe. And so that's what I'm hoping for with this channel. So I hope everybody stays. I hope they don't run away. I hope they don't, you know, block me or whatever, because, you know, the first thing they hear is some kind of weird trigger. Like, I'm trying to talk to everybody, you know, because I think that's the only way to go, you know. So I bet you a lot of people think about this, but, you know, like, you ever consider, like, why would you want to make a feature film or do any kind of real project and also focus, you know, like, strongly on your YouTube channel? You know, like, what's the purpose of doing both? Especially if, you know, if you have the potential to make like real money on YouTube, like serious money. You know, people talking about making, you know, $5, $6, $7, $8, $10, $15,000 a month more. You know, like if you could really double down on YouTube and have a filmmaking channel or a photography channel that makes that kind of money, why would you do anything else? You know, I mean, I think it would require a tremendous amount of work, and it would require all of your attention and probably all of your creative juices, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of thinking, like, how do you even do that? How do you do both? And by the way, just for the people who care, I'm shooting with the Panasonic S5 in manual focus. I'm using the Panasonic 20-60 kit lens. I'm shooting at f8, and I'm actually in APS-C mode, and I'm shooting at 60 millimeters, which is really 90 millimeters. And according to a friend of mine who commented on my channel the other day, it's 93 millimeters. So I'm just trying to get a different look. But yeah, I'm just wondering, like, why would you do both? You know, why would you have a photography business and a big YouTube channel at the same time? I mean, I guess if you just want to make ungodly amounts of money, but is it really you know, paying off creatively? Like, do you feel like, you know, like, let's say you're a filmmaker, and let's say you create these unbelievable YouTube videos, like beautiful, real short films, like amazing YouTube videos. So why would you go make a short film or a movie when realistically ain't nobody going to see your movie or your short film if they're watching your YouTube channel? I mean, it's very hard to get people to watch your real work if they're fans of yours on YouTube. I mean, you might get some people, but not a huge, you know, most people are just interested in seeing what you're doing on YouTube and listening to you. And to be honest with you, I believe they don't even really care all that much about the creative amazingness of your channel. I think that they kind of take that for granted. I don't think they really appreciate what you're bringing to the channel as a filmmaker. You know, I think they're just like, you could go in easy mode, you could do whatever you want. You know, if you have something interesting to say, if you have engaging, you know, subject matter, that's all that really matters. And so I think the answer is the same, you know, whether you are focused on your filmmaking or you're focused on your YouTube filmmaking. It's for you. You know, like, what makes you feel like you're using your skills and using your talent and expressing yourself, and I guess reaching the audience that you want to reach, you know? Like, you know, maybe if you make a film, you know, you're not gonna, I mean, I don't know, maybe you do include your YouTube videos at festivals and things like that. I've never seen that. And do any festivals, you know, do any film festivals have a YouTube category? I've never seen that myself. And I've been in plenty of festivals with my films. I think you have to do it for yourself, you know, like for me personally, and I'm struggling with this right now, and I'm struggling about some other stuff too, but like, you know, I'm so concerned about the fact that it seems like, you know, and of course I'm speaking from my own perspective, so, you know, like, you might have different perspectives, and if you do, please make comments, you know, tell me, because I don't know. Like, I don't think anybody knows anything right now, but I'm really concerned. Like, are we seriously headed for a place where, like, our food is no longer going to have any kind of standards? You know, like, there's going to be no FDA. I'm really struggling with, you know, the effort that it takes to make what I consider a really good YouTube video and what it takes to make a movie, you know, to do a narrative film. Even if you're doing just short films or, you know, I don't know. I just don't see how you can focus on both. And more importantly, I don't really understand why you would focus on both, you know? Like, what's the purpose of doing that? Or that there's going to be no Department of Education, where there's no standards at schools, or there's no standards for medication. Like, I'm concerned about that. Like, when you go buy chicken or fish or eggs, you know, or anything, like, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to, like, I want to just grow my own food now. I mean, is that even true? You know, I think YouTube is not really looking for that. You know, I don't think YouTube is looking at even a guy like Danny Gewirtz, you know, who's making like movies on YouTube. They're beautiful short films, and you know, he's got a huge fan base. But how many of those people actually went to watch his movie? You know, or how many of those people even care that he did a movie? Now, I bet quite a few. I mean, I watched his movie, but that's because I'm more interested in his movies than his YouTube videos, you know? And I have loved most of his YouTube videos that I've watched, but I say most because the videos that I love are like the video he did of his dog, you know, up in Canada, bringing his Labrador Retriever to the Labrador Sea. Is it even true that there's going to be no standard for medication? Like, I'm an alternative medicine person, but how scary is it that certain medications, certain treatments, you know, surgeries, things like that, there's going to be no, you know, nobody who has to approve that, no process, no system of making sure that it's safe and okay, that people are not going to die? Like, I don't understand that, you know. I'm concerned. And you know, again, is that even true? Is it true? I don't know, you know. I enjoyed the video that he made, a short film about a an MMA, a woman who's an MMA fighter taking care of her daughter. But these are real films, and so I think I'm the exception to the rule. Like, I wonder how many people actually really are going to go watch my feature films, like the whole thing. Like, how many people are really going to receive it as a movie? Like if you went to the movies. Is it true that, okay, so here's the thing that I'm concerned with too. Like, first of all, let me make sure I don't get blown out here. Okay, so I was fortunate enough to be part of an amazing community of performing artists in New York City when I took my first play, and I started to develop it in the poetry clubs. And suddenly I was a part of this gigantic community, and one of the greatest gifts of my entire life was being pretty much adopted by the Latino poetry community in New York City. Like, they literally treated me so well. There's this very, very powerful, close-knit community there. They do all these events with one another. They just empower one another. It's pretty incredible. And I was welcomed like, one of their own, and I'm not one of their own, And I would have to say that pretty much all of my friends from the poetry community, except for maybe one or two, were people of color, black or Hispanic. Almost everybody. I don't doubt that plenty of people are going to go and check out the film, here at YouTube. But, like, I looked at that movie and the average watch time is like 12 or 13 minutes, something like that. Well, that movie is 97 minutes. And so I'm really concerned for people who I know, friends, family members of theirs, that are people going to just like show up at places and scoop these people up and take them away? Like, I heard an interview on TV where this guy who is appointed to be the head of immigration, he was asked, like, well, are you going to like separate children from their parents if you have to, if kids were born in this country, but their parents were not, are you going to separate them? And he goes, no, I'm just going to deport all of them. I mean, is that even true? Can that happen? Because I'm concerned about that. So, but I know if somebody goes to Vimeo on demand or to a streaming service or something like that, they're going to watch the whole movie probably, because they got to pay $3.99. And it's funny, people, even if they pay only $3.99 or $19.99 if you want to buy it and really support me, they tend to watch the whole thing. When you get something for free, you don't tend to do that, You don't put as much value on it. It's the same thing with music. When you could download music for free, you don't value it as much as if you had to pay for it, even if you just had to pay 99 cents for a song, or 69 cents, or $2.99 or whatever, or $6.99 for the whole album. I know that we tend to value things more when we pay something, and I'm not making any judgments on anything, politically or whatever. I don't care about that. I'm concerned about the people, the families, like, I'm concerned about that. I feel like we need, that's what a democracy is, right? That's what is what this country is supposed to be about, that we agree on certain things and that we have certain standards, and certain, human ways of dealing with things that we all agree upon. It's like, as simple as stopping at a red light. I mean, is that what's next? That we just drive wherever we want to drive and drive however we want to drive and do whatever we want to do and just have total freedom? Like, freedom is not really freedom. Freedom is more survival of the fittest. It's very Darwin. It's very like I'm concerned about that. I don't understand how that's going to work. And that's why I think artists should put their work somewhere else where people have to pay for it. And, for me, I'm putting work here because I know a lot of people who follow me on YouTube want to see my work, but they probably wouldn't pay for it. They probably wouldn't go someplace else. So I'm leaving it here too. I have good friends who are gay, right? Like, are they going to lose their rights? I know people who are gay, who are married, who have homes together, who have bank accounts together, who have retirement together, who have children together that they've adopted. Are there, what's going to happen to them? What's going to happen to those who have kids who are trans? you know, who've already gone through surgeries, who've already changed their lifestyle. They're not hurting anybody. They're not doing anything to anybody. Like I know these people personally. And so you can watch it, but you can watch it interrupted with commercials, and that's kind of weird. And, you know, but it's fine. You know, I still really appreciate people watching it. But I think for the real cinephiles, you know, the people who love movies, who love films, you know, like, and I could tell who those people are at this channel, you know, people who are not necessarily as connected to the tech, but more about the story and the, you know, the filmmaking, and also my more personal stuff, like people who respond more to me when I talk about things outside of just technical filmmaking stuff. I know that they're probably going to go to, they'll probably prefer to watch my film at a place like Vimeo On Demand, or, you know, some streaming service, or maybe even go to a festival, you know, and see it there if it happens to be somewhere near wherever they live. Or if I happen to do like a theatrical run. You know, just because it's not affecting me personally because I'm a straight white male, like, what's going to happen to them? You know, it's not funny, you know. I'm laughing out of being scared out of my brains. You know, like I just don't understand. And also I want to know, is that really real? Is that really going to happen? You know, is that seriously going to happen? I really think, you know, I guess you have to decide for yourself what's important to you. I mean, for me, no matter how much my YouTube channel progresses and does well, I'm always going to, you know, make, you know, create the opportunity to see it as a regular movie too, you know, and I'm going to put it behind a paywall, and I'm going to try to be in a theater. I'm going to try to be in festivals. I'm going to always put it up at Vimeo On Demand, where you have to pay for it. And, you know, if you want to see it in that way, because obviously I'm also going to include it here, where you don't have to pay for it, but it's a completely different experience. Are journalists going to have to be afraid to criticize the government? Like, if they have facts, if they're being good journalists, if they're doing the work the way they're supposed to do it, like, are people going to be held accountable simply because they disagree with something? I mean, is that a democracy? Like, is that real? I don't understand that. Okay, never start a video when your battery's low, because that's what happened. My battery ran out, so I had to switch batteries. And trust me, you know, there's nothing more annoying than enjoying a beautiful film all the way through and then trying to watch it with all these commercials. That's why I never watch network TV anymore. You know, once cable came and HBO showed up and Showtime and places like that, and I could suddenly watch a full film on Amazon and, you know, Hulu and places like that, it was hard for me to go back to the network, you know, way of watching things and getting cut up with commercials. I don't know where I was. I don't know where I got cut off. Let me fix this again as the sun moves in and out of the clouds. But, you know, I'm not talking about, like, in theory, you know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about actual human beings who I know, you know, and I'm talking about what I'm concerned with. You might not have anybody in your life like this. You know, if you're somebody who doesn't know anybody like this, you might not have the same concerns, but I mean, are we not responsible to our neighbors? You know, are we not supposed to care about people other than ourselves? And really, are we living in a place now where, you know, somebody's, like, one section of the country's religious beliefs is going to run everybody else's life? Is that really where we're at? Like, and I'm asking too, is that real? Is that really going to happen? You know, are people really going to suffer like this? You know, are marriages going to be annulled simply because people are gay? You know, are they going to lose their homes? Is interracial marriage going to be made illegal? You know, I heard that, you know, I don't know if it's true, but I heard Clarence Thomas actually said that it's a question. Like, how unbelievable is that? You know, that's insanity to me. That's crazy. You know, no matter how you feel about that kind of stuff, you know, because that's the thing that I'm so messed up about. It's like, why do people care about these things when it has nothing to do with them, when it's not like killing somebody, you know, or taking somebody's property or taking food off of somebody's table? Like, why are people so preoccupied with what other people are doing and how other people are living? I don't understand, you know? Which, you know, is kind of interesting too, because now I'm monetized here at YouTube, and I'm hoping that everybody watches, you know, lets the commercials play on my channel, because that's the only way I can really make money here. I don't understand why, if you have certain strong beliefs, that's fine. But why do you need to why do you need to make other people live the way you live if it has nothing to do with you or your family or anything? You're not even coming in contact with these people. And even if you do come, you know, that's why I love New York City so much, because we are all in contact with everybody. Like, everybody lives in New York City, right? Everybody's got to ride the trains together. Everybody walks the streets together. Everybody's around each other all the time. Everybody's in the same restaurants. Everybody's at the same pizza place. Everybody's in the same bakery. Everybody's walking around Bleecker Street in the Village, or Fordham Road in the Bronx, or out in Jackson Heights getting some Indian food, or, you know, everybody's taking the ferry out to Staten Island, or hanging out in Brooklyn, you know, up in Fort Greene. Like, everybody is together. You can go anywhere and see so many different people, and it is the most beautiful thing that you have ever experienced, to be around so many different people, this multicultural array of beautifulness. It's just magnificent. It's life. It's the way life is, you know? I'm not saying it's the way life should be or shouldn't be, because it's not for me to say that. In my opinion, it's the way life should be. But what I am saying is that that's the way life is, you know? I mean, I guess I have to learn all the other stuff, like affiliate links and selling stuff, like if I could have products or whatever. And, you know, I'll figure it out over time, because, yeah, I do want to make money at YouTube. But, you know, creatively as an artist, I want you to watch my films all the way through. So why, like, I'm concerned with that. And I got to go back, you know, like, I'm really concerned. I guess this is the thing that I'm really carrying around with me, but I'm afraid to, like, if there's no FDA, I'm afraid to go into the store and buy food. You know? And yeah, you could totally make an argument for everything that I've said and say, oh, they're so corrupt, they weren't checking anything anyway, they did a shitty job, blah, blah, blah. I choose to not believe that. Because you know what? Millions and millions and millions and millions of people survive every day in this country, living lives. The average life expectancy is in the high 70s or around 80 years old still. Like, you can't say that there's this rampant, you know, death toll because, you know, our food is not being processed properly or being overseen properly. You just can't say that. The statistics don't bear that out. And, you know, our population continues to grow. And so you just can't say that. And so I'm concerned about so many things, you know. All this Project 2025 stuff. I don't even know if it's true, you know. And I know a lot of people who I know personally, or if they're watching this, they're going, don't be an idiot, Rock. Of course it's true. You know, they said the words, just don't be stupid. Like, I know a lot of people feel that way, but I also know a lot of people who are like, that's conspiracy theories, it's not going to happen. Don't even listen to that. But, you know, the problem is that depending upon where you are politically in this country, you are hearing completely different things, you know? And so I genuinely believe that everybody in this country firmly believes what they believe, you know? That very few people at this point are questioning anything, and I'm somebody who's questioning everything, you know? I am. I'm questioning everything at this point. I don't know shit. The only thing I know is what's good, you know? And I know the people that I know, and I know the people that I love, and I know the people that I respect, and I know what it means to feel safe, and I know what it means to feel like people who know more than me, who studied, who are scientists, who are, you know, people who have dedicated their lives to doing things that protect me. I trust them, you know? I tend to, and I'm somebody who has a pretty healthy distrust for people, you know? Like, you know, like I'm all alternative medicine, you know, because basically I feel like I watched doctors and hospitals kill my mother and my father and my grandmother. Like, I watched them die because of their treatment, not because of their illnesses. But I'm also open enough to say that the doctors that I dealt with, they all did the best that they could, you know. I know that. I just think the system is fucked up, you know. So, yeah, I'm concerned about all of this. It is hard to do both, you know, but I guess we just do our best, and everybody has to do what's right for them. So, yeah, I have concerns about that. I think about it a lot, and I'm always trying to respect anybody who comes to see my work anywhere, whether it be on YouTube or in the movies or at a festival or at Vimeo or wherever. I'm always trying to show the highest level of respect and appreciation to anybody who comes to see me anywhere, you know. So what do you think? Like, you know, leave the comments, tell me, you know. I'm open to all of it, you know. I mean, you know, I'll say this, and it's going to be really controversial to a lot of people that I know. Especially, I'm very close to Sean Bell's family, but I'm not somebody who believes that nobody should be able to own a gun. I don't believe that. I do believe in background checks. I believe that it should be harder to get a gun than it is to get a driver's license. You know, I think it should be really hard to get a gun. And I think you should be held to some very incredibly high standard to own something that can kill somebody like that, you know? And yeah, you could kill somebody with a hammer, you can kill somebody with a knife, whatever. You could say that, but a gun is a different thing. I don't care. Like, let's not be stupid about it. And so I'm just saying, I understand all of that. You know what I mean? It's not for me. I will never own a gun, you know? I'm not that guy. I'm not that person. But I'm concerned about so much stuff, like this thing about living free and freedom and all. Like, I don't think people are really thinking about what freedom really is, you know, and how a society has to live and how we have to take care of one another and how it ain't all about you and it ain't all about just your family and your property and what you want and what you think is right. It's about your community. You know, I'm going to finish this part of the video with this, you know. I'm somebody who, I hadn't done blood work since 1994. Like, I am so afraid of doctors. I have so much trauma because I had a horrible experience back in the day, right? But when it came time to get vaccinated for COVID, you know, I was afraid because, you know, I hadn't had any medication. I hadn't taken any antibiotics, nothing like that since I was very young. And so I was afraid if I do it, I'm probably going to die, you know? I was like really afraid. But then I thought to myself, you know what? It's the right thing to do as a community. You know, I work in the theater. If I want to be able to go back into a live theater around people, I want people to feel comfortable with me, even though I'm afraid it might kill me. You know, that I have a very healthy distrust for a lot of this stuff. But, you know, I thought, you know, it ain't about you. And by the way, by the time I got vaccinated, millions of people had been vaccinated and most of them did not die. Most of them had absolutely no side effects. Nothing happened to them. I personally don't know anybody who had any serious side effects from the vaccine. And so I did it, you know, and I did it because I thought it was the right thing to do. And I don't judge anybody for not having done it at all. And I have some very dear friends who didn't do it, and that's fine. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, sometimes we have to do things that we think are right for all of us as a society and not just about us, you know? And so I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm not telling anybody what not to do. But what I am asking is, what do you think? Like, are you concerned about anything? Are you thinking about anybody other than yourself, you know? Are you thinking about your neighbors? Are you thinking about your coworkers? Are you thinking about people who you know who are gay, who are Jewish, who are black, who are women? How about women? Do you have a daughter? Do you have a mother? Do you have an aunt? Do you have a cousin? Do you have female people in your life? Like, just think about how women have never been treated equally in this country, ever. That's a fact. Absolute fact. So I'm just wondering, do you even think about that? Because you don't have to think about it. That's one of the great things about being in this country. You don't have to think about anything. Everything just gets done for us. But guess what? Seems like that's about to change. If I'm right about that, I don't even know. I don't even know. I guess we'll see what happens, but I'm concerned. Like, I'm consumed with all of this lately. I appreciate it so much, and I do not take it for granted, ever. So, yeah, that's my concern about that.